Another window.
Another window closed, but another one open.
Man, Streamlabs is tough to set up. We should have done this at a different time.
Yeah, it's probably something that could have been prepped, but I mean,
Yeah, but I was on vacation all last week, so you know.
True that.
It's vacation time.
Sorry, I'm doing like manual cropping right now by pixel, so it's like it's silliness. What we're doing to make this work.
Pixel croppage.
Pixel croppage. Yo, it's my crop of pixel. I'm a pixel farmer.
Oh man, we got balancing acts going on over here.
One more, guys. New source. This is gonna be a minute. I got 2 or 3 done. You rocking out over there?
Yep.
Try to fill your space if you can.
Try to fill it?
Well, yeah, I'm using your whole Discord window, so if you want to be that little compared to me and Cam, that's cool, but you're like, there you go. There you go. Let the people see your face.
You want this beard?
I got a face for radio. We kind of need you on screen, my man.
I tried to get my mustache touched up a bit with the wax.
Nice.
I'm like, I'm gonna face this way.
It's gonna look like you're in the middle of a business meeting at the other end of the table.
Yeah. I'll be at the very end of the table.
I like how I got just my hat rack on the right, or on the left, and then on the right I have an assortment of Pokemon and a Venom hat and a Full Metal Alchemist poster.
All the things.
Oh, the thing.
This is the fastest of all the crops, seemingly. I don't know why.
Man, that's it. That's the spot.
I'm just getting practice, I guess. I'm starting to understand what kind of numbers to expect out of these crops.
Girl.
Oh, we get to see that nice plant. Thank you.
Yeah, you get to draw business inspiration now from the plant.
I feel inspired.
Oh, where'd your video feed go, my guy?
Oh, me? I don't know.
He's gone.
We just had all swap places on my. Well, not really. Once you came back, it fixed itself. 3 different mic brands.
We gotta get a sponsored deal.
With all of them.
From all of them, I was gonna say. Yeah.
I don't like the reflection off my glasses, but there's not much I can do about it. You kind of look like a pirate, mate.
Is that good?
Arr.
I think you pull it off.
Okay.
You look like you could be swabbing the poop deck.
Swapping the poop deck. All right, it's time to start recording this video, I think.
I could be the first mate too.
All right, there we go. We are live with video.
Live.
So there we go. Yeah, suddenly I'm starting to get a little bit of like choppiness as if my computer's struggling, but that's okay. It'll probably sort itself out.
How could you do this to me?
What do you mean? I thought you were ready. You said you were ready.
Oh, look at the light change.
Like that was your computer.
I didn't see the light change on your mic, but I like that.
You didn't know it did that?
No. Or you probably showed me, but I forgot.
Your room's looking a little hazy, Anthony. Something happened?
No, that's just the light. I'm in Hazy Town.
In Hazy Town?
He's in Hazy Town.
All right.
I mean, I could fix it if you want me to.
It's all good. Oh my goodness. First video vodcast, huh?
First video vodcast.
I don't know anything about video etiquette except I'm a streamer, so sometimes I do that. I get on video anyway. Don't touch your face too much. I don't know. Something like that. Now you be thinking about it. Y'all gonna be picking your nose on stream. Good stuff though.
Mm-hmm.
So Anthony, where were you? Where did you say you were?
I was in St. Augustine. Ever heard of it?
It's in Florida, right?
It is haunted. It is one of the oldest towns in the U.S. basically. Christopher Columbus sailed along here, and one of his, I don't know, generals or crewmates, or I think he was actually from one of the other ships. His name was Ponce de Leon. He set up shop in Florida, and it's pretty great. We learned about his history. We learned about the history after him. We learned about pirate attacks, burning villages. We learned about floods. We learned about Henry Flagler, which I think was like one of the most coolest things. Henry Flagler was a G. If you have time to like look up Henry Flagler and like all the stuff he's done and like Flagler College and everything, the man was best friends with Thomas Edison. So when electricity was invented, he had electricity before the White House.
First Henry that came up was Henry Flagler. This man has a mustache that could I don't know, probably
Rival the best mustaches in the world.
Repair the boat with those bristles, man.
My kind of guy.
Yeah, Henry Flagler was a straight up G.
You said he had electricity before like anyone else?
And so he was best friends with Thomas Edison, and
okay.
whatever perks that gave him,
he knew a guy. He had a guy.
Yeah. He also had one of the world's first elevators in his hotel in St. Augustine.
Nice.
Those things used to move mad slow, though.
Oh yeah, it was probably reminiscent of a service elevator. Wow.
An elevator.
It's elevating, so I mean, you know, technically is an elevator.
Elevator.
Gonna elevate this medium real quick. All right, so you guys want to get into this podcast, though?
I suppose so.
All right, I have no idea what we're gonna put in the middle when the like theme song's playing, so just we're gonna have to figure that out. We need some B-reel or something. I mean, you made a theme song for these episodes for this season, but we just got like the video is just gonna. It's not gonna really work, so we're gonna have to like cut it and then make space for the music and figure out some kind of filler video.
How long is it? We could all just quietly sit here like doing a little cha-cha for as long as it's going.
Just play the music over our video. Is that how people do it? Maybe.
I mean, you could do it that way.
Welcome everybody to the A4NB4Y Zelda themed podcast. We just wrapped up season 3, one of our best seasons, and we're about to start season 4 right now with Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
You got Tony Giggles in the house, and I'm a fresh ghost that just died, and I'm ready to party. My 2 co-hosts.
I'm Cameron Hagee, a Pokemon trainer like always, you know what I'm saying?
And I'm Ryan Fonzie, an ethereal disco ball perfect for ghost parties.
Oh
man.
What's up?
We're getting the ectoplasm moving tonight.
Getting spectral up in here.
Casper up in here.
That's what's up. Casper apparently was a good dancer. You guys remember that movie?
It's been a while.
Yeah. He floats.
Casper's great.
But there's like a whole thing about him being a good dancer, and then he scares everybody out of the dance. It's great. It's classic.
I see him schmoovin'.
He was schmoovin'.
He was schmoovin' too much.
He over schmooved.
Whoa, you're scaring us over here. Stop schmoovin'.
Schmoove it down a level, buddy. Come on.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, all right. So to the real point of us all being here, it's our first. Yeah, it's our first Breath of the Wild episode for our season 4. We've done 3 seasons already, guys. This is our 4th one, and it's gonna be crazy. Breath of the Wild is such a huge game. Been studying like random stuff. I saw there was a game developers conference interview with some of the developers back in 2017, like a week after the game came out, where they talked about a lot of what they like did when they were making the game, like what the concepts were, like what their, I guess, thinking was with making it. And it was just like, is crazy. It's just some of the stuff that they did and some of like the ground that they broke making this game. One really cool thing I remember them showing was like they did a test run of some of their concepts in like a version of the first Legend of Zelda game. Like, so you saw like straight up T-Laws, but a Deku leaf in it, and he was able to pick up a torch and like set the trees on fire on the screen and stuff. And it was craziness. Like they were testing out what they called a chemistry engine instead of just a physics engine. They're like, why not a chemistry engine? So they, if something's getting too hot, it sets on fire, and then the fire can propagate and stuff like that. And they kind of showed how, yeah, in this game, like it's not just how things are moving through physical space. It's also what is the state of everything. So like, wind and fire and electricity and all that, these elements, like they all play a big role in what you're doing. And it just kind of opens up the game a lot more. But that's the thing. I know we've talked about it before, but as we go through this, we're kind of all expecting to take completely different paths and find different solutions to things because this game is so open-ended and huge. So I don't know. I just thought I would mention that, and just to say like, I don't expect we're all going to come in with the same stories. And I think that we do need to figure out a way to limit how many stories we all tell about what we've done or seen or what crazy things have happened. So I'm thinking maybe we take turns until we run out, but we'll figure that out.
We hit a time limit.
It's kind of our test run is this episode right here. If you want, I can just jump right into like what the intro kind of looks like.
And I feel like at this point in time, everybody knows what this game is about.
It's been out for 5 years, yeah.
The biggest one.
It was a huge deal when it started, and they ramped it up. That big Breath of the Wild moment that they showcased is become known as that for a reason, and many other games and trailers have tried to emulate it for a reason, because it was really epic, and it was a great title to launch the Switch off with.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, that big panoramic landscape shot. It's like, it's literally what they introduce it with, it's like, there's like a short cut scene and then like a couple of rooms, and then it's pretty much straight to that. It's just like, and now you're in the world. You can do whatever you want,
Yep.
Right.
Maybe not exactly what we want, but yeah, no, obviously, like if you're listening to this podcast right now, like odds are you've already either played the game or you're interested in playing the game, or maybe you started it and didn't finish, but you should be at least a little bit familiar. Like as a Zelda fan, it's hard to not either have started with this one or have jumped on
it at
as
least
soon as
in
possible.
Target or Walmart.
Yeah.
Breath of the what now?
What in coronation is that?
Yeah.
Imagine some guy got locked in time 1999 after Ocarina of Time, and like he just woke up and he's like, what's a Breath of the Wild?
Why does it have a moment?
What does that even mean? This world is too big. Where are the dungeons?
Why are there horses over there and they just kick me?
Right. So yeah, we start out this game, like the first cutscene we do get is basically just some light and a voice that tells us to wake up, open our eyes. It's interesting. Link is floating in a pool of what can only be assumed to be some kind of sensory deprivation tank. Like
of healing liquid, maybe?
Right. It's like what's the one in Star Wars? It's like a Bacta tank or something.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, or those healing chambers in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it's like there's this big like onion looking thing floating above them that's apparently like power in the device shuts off and Link is able to get up and out. You pick up a Sheikah Slate, which is a
tablet.
It's a tablet. I'm pretty
right
sure
away
it was
it's like
designed to
technology hits you.
look like one of these guys. If you've ever seen one of these.
Nope.
Because
or similar to that, but not the same.
Yeah, right. So it's one of those like in-game implements that's meant to mimic what you're playing with, so it makes it just seem a little bit cooler. And you walk into the next room and you find like what seems to be like a room of supplies that somebody left for you for this moment when you would have woken up. So there, there's like some old clothes and a bunch of barrels that might have had food in them at one time, but now are just kind of filled with dust and rotted away. And then you step outside and you get this big landscape, and I think they even put the title up, don't they? Like, isn't it like straight up title block moment? Yeah.
Awesome.
It just kind of zooms out. You see everything. It's like, whoa! It's like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
When I first played this game, and they zoomed out, like you see the plateau. I thought that was it. It's a Zelda game. Like Zelda games don't take you to literally wherever you want to go. So I thought the plateau was it, and I was like, this is big.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember getting the like when you finally like get up that, because like the towers all open up and everything. You should go up that first tower. And like it, shines in the map, and it's like, oh, this is huge. Look at my little arrow. It shows me where I am. But like at that point, you can't see off the edge and be like, wait a minute. Like there's gonna be more going on. Towers came up everywhere.
Could be so much
kind
more.
of see Death of the Mountain or Death of the Mountain. What? Death Mountain in the background.
Mountain.
Giant looming mountain.
Yeah. No, it's for sure, it's huge, but I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. I don't know if there's another way to approach the game just yet. Like right now, like you come out, normally, you find your first stick, maybe your first apple, first beetles.
I want to interject with something. In the very beginning, before you get your basic pants, and probably only then, if you open a chest by kicking it, your guy, he'll act like his toe has been stubbed. He'll just kind of hop on one foot, like ooh.
Nice.
But for the rest of the game, you'll probably have pants equipped, and that only happens when you don't. So, yeah,
because shoes come with the pants, right? How that kind of goes.
Yeah, it's part of it. Just a lower part.
What's up?
Trousers. So they're
trousers.
Hylian trousers.
They're not just trousers. They're well worn.
Who leaves behind well-worn trousers for the hero when he wakes back up?
That is a very good point, actually. Like, what do we have to give him upon his return to the world of the moving and conscious? Like, how about my pants? Yeah, they're pretty well worn. They'll do.
Gotta make sure they're broken in. Don't want to give him anything
fancy now. Don't want to give him an ego boost when he wakes up with some fancy armor.
Give him some armor so he can take on the, go straight to saving Hyrule. Nah. Like he doesn't get that.
No.
Like, pants are for closers. This dude failed. We're giving him some well-worn trousers.
Someone had to lug him all the way up here. We don't got any clothes. We didn't have room.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, but you know what else you can do around the same time that you're finding that stick before you run into anybody that could possibly be here? There's also rhino beetles on the back of a few of these trees up here, and if you nabberooski a few of those, you can use them later on for attack boosting elixirs.
Nice. I did nab a couple of them. It's good stuff.
I probably got like 6 or 7 by the time I left the plateau.
Nice. Yeah, but we head down this little hill, and we can find a campfire, right? Like I think there's like a lamp next to it. I mean, is the old man here yet? Is that what I'm remembering? Yeah, he's there by the fire.
Get a pan out, and you see him staring at you coming out of the resurrection chamber. Link looks at him like the old man's like, and walks away.
Goes back to his campfire. But yeah, you can steal his baked apple. He'll get kind of upset with you about that.
Yeah,
but then
you can also steal his torch, and then he'll implicate Link in arson. Well, if you choose the right dialogue options, and be like, "What are you gonna do with that torch?" And you're like, setting stuff on fire. He's like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that a lot, actually." And I'm like, "Okay."
Who am I getting mad at you?
Yeah, I don't remember what I chose for that. Probably just either the ... or the not sure yet or whatever. There was some fun options there, but. I usually play the like the straight answers.
Yeah, normally I do too, but I was feeling a little saucy when he asked,
I gotcha. I mean, it's not like knowing who this guy is later on, like it's part of the issue I'm having with talking about this game is like I know too much. Now that I've played it once, I know too much. So like even when like I introduced the first cutscene and said it was Zelda, like that's a spoiler technically. But we already know
I didn't
this
even recognize you said
because
that.
we've already played it. Kind of similar with I don't know, like even being able to say like Link failed. Like we don't know anything about Link yet. Like we're gonna learn that this episode. We're gonna learn it later in a different cutscene. But
Yes.
yeah. But we're kind of like I'm just like saying things out of order because I'm not. It's hard to keep it like with the game once you've played it once and you already know all the characters.
Let's just pretend we know absolutely nothing. We are discovering this fire pit for the first time.
Yeah, I mean that's the concept of the game. I mean, like Link wakes up with amnesia. Like he doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing. He doesn't know what happened, and why he's in this cave. And so when you approach it the way I feel like I'm tempted to, it does kind of take something away from that story, and I'm trying to like keep to okay, what did we actually learn already, and what can we actually express because of that?
True.
Yeah. Sorry.
Predicament.
There's also a woodcutter's axe, like right down a little bit from that torch you can nabber and ski as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you stop and you talk to the old man, like after you steal all those things, he has some dialogue to tell you like he's the only person living on the Great Plateau, I think. Kind of, I don't remember if he asks you questions about who you are, but you can kind of ask him who he is. But he's really like sidesteps everything,
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, I'm just an old man, just a whatever, the only person living here. Not a big deal. Don't worry about me, pretty much. But yeah, like he will lend you the apple. He's like, yeah, whatever you need, go ahead and take it. Like it's not a big deal. Like to survive in this world, you kind of need to help each other out, basically.
Yeah, well, there's something big and ominous kind of looming in the distance that you can actually see from the old man's camp right around the cave entrance there. Giant tower. You cannot miss it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he actually tells us to walk over there, right?
No, it's actually after you've been walking around or just out of the cave long enough, Zelda just randomly speaks to, or a voice speaks to Link, and says, "Link, look at your Sheikah Slate tablet, and go to the dot that's registered on it." And that dot takes you to the tower. She doesn't actually say it's a tower, but she says to look at the slate and then go to the place where the dot is, which is the tower.
Yeah. It comes crashing up out of the ground. But I mean, I did stop over at the tower that you're talking about. I mean, on the way over there, there's actually a sword in the stone reference.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. There's a stone like shoved into a rock up on an island. So you can like fly
a rusty
over there
sword.
And pull out. Yeah, it's a rusty sword, but it's one of the better weapons. It's better than a stick. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
I got
in
that.
master mode, I had to scrounge for a while to find any weapon that would even just kill a balloon. Oh yeah, so
I forgot you were doing that.
Podcast. You have Fonzie over here playing on the Wii U, and we have me and Cameron over here playing on. Well, I'm playing on the Switch. Cameron is playing on the OLED Switch, and I'm doing master mode. So some differences going there, and then master mode is just a battle in and of itself. I mean, you have goblins on balloons just looming right outside this massive temple that we have in front of us where the rusty sword is. Every bokoblin is blue and you get health back if you don't kill them in time, and it's just a nasty experience. And you have to scrounge for literally everything. Like I remember I was exploring the Temple of Time. I guess we've all done it now. So I was exploring this ominous temple.
Random temple that they just kind of
crazy thing.
And found a pair of Hylian trousers, which was pretty cool. Get some more defense for my, get rid of those well-worn trousers. We want some new trousers in our lives.
Mm-hmm. I actually did play through the plateau in a little bit more on master mode too, because I didn't want to play too far ahead. So I played a little bit on master, and I remembered how much more annoying it is.
Yeah,
and how much harder it is.
This is like to research for the podcast, like things are kind of more time sensitive, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to restrict the amount I could explore and find, so I didn't want to put so much combat and difficulty in my way. So I chose not to do master mode for this run, specifically because I'm trying to do like a retrospective, like, study on the game.
That's
I
fair.
just didn't want to get distracted by all that. But
I'm not going to do the whole thing in master.
I'm not going to do.
I'm committed.
So
I think also around where that sword in the stone was, if you jump down to the bottom of that lake, there's a rock you can blow up and get. I don't remember what was in the chest. I think it was like an amber maybe, or a topaz.
Gotcha.
Just a little something that I
Actually,
didn't
I'm
find the
pretty
first time I
sure-
played the game.
I didn't
Pretty
find
sure
that this
that
time.
spot is actually where we meet of our first little seedling friends.
Yeah, it is. You jump off a
yeah.
little thing into a bunch of lily pads and flowers in a circle.
I did
Yeah.
that. I jumped in, got a little poofed. Yeah, haha! You found me. Well, then it was like, you can see me. Oh yeah, my friends are everywhere. Just find us. We have stuff for you. I was like, oh, okay.
It gives you a seed.
Koraki.
Yeah.
And this is also where you can catch Hylian bass if you need them.
Yeah, there's a couple places with fish on the Great Plateau. Not many, but there's at least two.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that, but
We'll be needing it for later.
just Hylian bass are just meat, pretty much. They don't give anything special. They're just hearts. But yeah, there's a whole cooking mechanic in this game for anyone who everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Lots of cooking.
Like I'm trying to explain a game.
We can go over it.
Y'all know it.
We don't have to go into much detail. Say there's a cooking system. You make food with food, and then you turn monster parts and
Yeah, I mean, it's
the
actually part
bugs
of.
and stuff into elixirs.
I specifically made sure it was a part of my Great Plateau experience this time because there's a couple different paths you can take, specifically with regards to one item, and I've always gone one way about it, and this time I went the other way. But we'll get to that after the tower, if that
I think
makes
I know
sense.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. So we do head over to the tower. Comes crashing out of the ground along with every other tower.
It doesn't do that till we walk into it, though. We walk into it when it's on the ground and it's covered in rocks, and we don't know what it is, and it kind of just looks like a hut. And we touch it, and
yeah, I think the Sheikah slate's like "Beware falling rocks" or something like that, and then it just explodes out of the ground.
And then we get on a temporary ride from an amusement park and go shooting a couple 100 feet up into the air and see a bunch of other spikes the same size and look come shooting out a bunch of other places that we now realize we could go over there.
Yeah, this map is huge. Like that was one of the craziest. Like the cutscene is just like, look how big the map is. It's like, oh, okay. I guess there's a lot of biomes out here. Yeah, so you can see some towers come up in the distance, and then you get the old man who just shows up, and he's like, "Wow, that's pretty crazy." Yeah, and then, I mean, does he tell us to climb it? I don't know if that's a thing.
I think he flies down after we climb down. Right?
Yeah, we climb down, and then he comes floating in on the paraglider that we about to find out is a paraglider.
Yeah.
He also tells us the plateau is just the plateau, and there's a world beyond the plateau.
A bacon.
So we have a conversation about the paraglider too, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well if you want this, I suppose it'd be good if we traded for it. So how about you find some treasure? I'm sure there's some in that shrine over there." And he points out the first shrine.
I love how rude you can be in this conversation. You can be like, if you go find that treasure, you're like, how about you just give it to me or something like that. There's some really rude options there. He's like, no, you need to go do the thing I asked you to do, then you can get it.
Yeah, and it's all part of the plan. I mean, he sends you, and you don't know it yet, but we're getting our Sheikah slate abilities through these first 4 shrines. This is our like tutorial section of the game, this Great Plateau. And it's kind of cool. The first one is the Omen Owl Shrine. And it's, I think that this one was Magnesis. I don't have it written down in my notes which one was which, but I'm pretty sure the first one is Magnesis.
The lake around you have the metal you can pull out of the water, like the chest and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if you got the game on Switch early release, there's also an EX chest here. Or maybe it
Yes.
was in all games. I
Yeah.
think that's the one with the ruby.
So without doing like shrine walkthroughs, because I'm not super interested in, like, I don't think that's really what we're about. It's kind of
No.
like dungeon type stuff. I mean, we can talk about what our favorite
Oh,
things
wait.
were and stuff like
I
that.
think in this shrine, isn't this the first encounter we have of the mini guardians?
Maybe. Well, I think you can hit one with a box, right? So I think that's right.
Yeah, because I remember using Magnesis to pick up a box and attack them. I think it was in this one.
Yeah.
If it
Was
was
it?
this one, then yeah, I was so mad because they have so much health in master mode.
They do. They're extremely difficult to deal with in master mode.
Yeah.
Exceedingly.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you got a big hunk of metal, does it help or no? I mean, I
It
imagine
does, but it's still hard to time. You have to be really good at controlling blocking the beam with it and then getting it above it to hit it and delay the beam from hitting you and basically one-shotting you because you only have 3 hearts at this point.
Even then, I think it only does like 15%, 20% health.
Yeah, and then you have to do that over and over again, like, perfectly.
Okay.
Or you have to keep hitting it well enough to stop it from shooting again. It's tough. I'm not the
Gotcha.
best at controlling stuff with Magnesis.
Yeah, in regular mode, they go down pretty quick when you hit them with a big metal object. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of magnet play here. I mean, that's pretty much the point. Is you get the magnet ability and then, or magnesis ability, and then it's just a training course on how to use it. So opening doors, making bridges, moving metal blocks, all that. One thing to note, and this might be a little bit jumpy in terms of topics, but if you had any kind of question about why these shrines, because there's 120 of them in the game, 4 of them on the Great Plateau, and this one is the Oman Owl Shrine, which is actually an anagram for the name Aonuma. So if you were wondering how the shrines are named, they're actually all either plays on words or anagrams of different staff names.
It's epic.
My lamp just flickered. All right. No, we're good. So, yeah. So it's so there's 4 in my hair. I mean, I can go through them as we get to them, but yeah, they all are based on staff names, and this is like one of the key ones that like people caught on to that through, because Aonuma, is a little bit easier to catch than most.
Yeah.
I think my
So-
work lamp behind me is going to die
interesting.
during this podcast. That's okay.
Since we just got the Magnesis and we have prior knowledge of this game, which is unfortunate but true, did you guys immediately go for the bomb shrine next? Because those are probably the most useful ones in the game for just damage and utility.
I did.
Was that which one was that?
The bomb one was the
Oh.
one that was in the ruins with all the
Jabaige.
Jabaige.
I went into the frozen section first.
Oh,
Went straight in.
what?
Chili peppered up.
Oh, you
ready to
chili
go.
peppered it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Stay
feel
on
like
shrine.
that's the thing that Fonz is going to talk about, the alternate tackling ways, right?
Yeah. So the first time I ever played this, and I think the second time I started a game, I would go, after getting that one, I would just follow the kind of the Great Plateau counterclockwise, pretty much going in the same direction. Because one thing, worth mentioning here is when we come back out of the Oman Owl Shrine, the old man comes back and is like, "Oh, well, I mean, that's one treasure, but I mean, I think there's 3 other shrines here, so do those 2, and then we'll talk about the paraglider."
And here's another
Also-
option for you to be like, "Oh, you lied? You said you'd give it to me right now." And he's like, "Come on, dude. Like 3 more. Just do it." You could be so rude to him.
Because you didn't even give him
They-
anything out of the shrine. Like, you just got an ability, and he was like, "All right, go get 3 more."
Yeah.
He's not actually
He's
expecting
like,
a trade.
that was a part of it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things the note here is, if anyone realizes, actually, we could probably wait on this, but we get something called a spirit orb, which is a super crystalline sort of like selenite type ball. I wish I had mine with me right now because I actually have.
I
a
was
spirit
just
orb.
going to say, where's yours,
I can
man?
show you yours. Yeah, I forgot it actually, but Yeah, so he mentions the spirit orb thing, and then Fonz was talking about the treasure. I was gonna bring a system up with those, but I think we can wait till the fourth shrine to
Yeah,
bring
we
that
can
system
wait
up.
on the every time we complete a shrine, there's a sage in the shrine. The first one is the Triforce of Power. With their hands, they make a little triangle. So if Aonuma gets that one, I guess.
Power.
I don't know. So yeah, they gift once you complete the shrine, they gift you a spirit orb. And then we come out, have this conversation with the old man. Normally, what I would do is I would go through the Forest of Spirits past Hopper Pond. These are all names that if you look at your map, you can see. And I have some notes to say about that too later on once we've done these shrines. And then I would, there was like a bokoblin base up on a cliff, and there's a bunch of peppers growing around there, so you can get those hot peppers, make your way over to the snow area from there, make your way up a mountain, kind of continue around that way. This time I wanted to go the other way because I know that there's a log cabin that is actually owned by the old man on the Great Plateau. And he kind of has a side mission for you there that gives you the same result as climbing the mountain. So I actually went that way first, which does take you right by the Eastern Abbey and the Jabai Shrine.
Mm-hmm. And that's also what I did.
Yeah. So the Jabai Shrine is where you get the bomb ability. Basically just make as many bombs as your cooldown timer will let you.
Yep, and switch between two different types. You have the circular ones, which will roll, and the square-shaped ones, which will just sit.
Yeah, they'll resist rolling. I mean, you can definitely still throw them down a cliff, and they'll bounce around and fall. But
yeah.
It's physics engine stuff. It's just square.
Physics still apply to it. Yeah, but it doesn't roll.
Right.
So, also run into one of the first enemy archetypes that have a reoccurring theme in this game, and we know nothing about other than we just got attacked by a giant robot.
Yeah, I avoided these guys. I didn't try to fight them.
Yeah, me too.
Just we'll learn about those soon.
Scale the wall, jump over before they can get you. Just
the music. The music. The first time I heard it was so scary.
Yeah.
As it's like aiming at you, getting faster. It's like.
Yeah. No, they're straight out of a horror. You know what? Speaking of straight out of a horror game, I have the that creating a champion book. If you look at some of the previous like concept arts for Guardians, they were gonna be like eldritch horrors originally. Like they were some crazy
awesome
monsters with multiple eyes and stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad they went the robot route because it would have been a completely different game had they stuck with that.
I can only imagine what the helicopter ones would look like then.
Some Twilight Princess Dark Monster. I mean, I might even be able to pull up the pictures and show you on stream. But I don't know if you'll be able to see it well in the camera.
You're doing that.
What's up?
Well, I think I mentioned this on the previous episode, but there's also another nightmare in Master Mode that's right past the evil laser robots. And so right between the Jabai Shrine and the old man's house, there's a little forest. And who other is patrolling that forest than a silver lionel? Just straight up in the beginning of the game, like, here you go, have fun, kids.
Here's your insurmountable wall.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds horrible.
You straight up don't have the weapon durability to take the health of this thing at this point. I don't think it's possible unless you're absolutely flawlessly perfect with bombs. Even then, I don't know if you can. I got really good at one point back in the day at killing Lionels, and I just don't know if you can do it with bombs only.
Yeah.
On master mode, when they get health back in like 3 or 4 seconds rapidly, if you don't hurt them.
So does that have the arsenal?
Does that Lionel take the place of the Talos?
No.
No,
the Talos is over in the forest.
Right. Okay.
This is a different forest. This is a forest the opposite direction.
Gotcha. Like where the guy's cutting trees in the regular game.
In between the bomb shrine and his cabin instead of the other way from the healing chamber.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah,
I also went this route to get the warm doublet.
Yeah, the warm doublet. That's so if you climb the mountain without just by using like spicy foods, the old man will be there at the top of the mountain, basically being like, oh, climbing up here without any kind of clothing must be like, that's some feat you did. Here, let me help you out. And he gives you the warm doublet so you don't have to do that anymore. But if you find his cabin, you'll find a note that, you know, he's been trying to prepare a dish. Basically, he knows 2 of the ingredients, but he's missing the third. But it's a
He just
seafood
forgot
dish.
the third. Yeah.
And there's only one type of seafood on the entire plateau. So you go and catch a fish and you bring it back. You match up the other 2 ingredients, which I think was like maybe a spicy pepper and something else. And you
And a
cook it
mushroom, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Or an apple, something like that.
Some kind of spicy
meat,
seafood skewer.
Oh, yeah, it was just any other kind of meat.
And spicy pepper.
So you could kill like a boar or a random bird or something to get the meat.
Well, it was listed as seafood. So I think you needed to get a fish.
Oh, you needed the fish too, but you needed
meat.
some other kind of meat, and then the
Oh.
chili pepper was the other kind of meat was the third
Meat
thing
and
we
seafood.
forgot.
Spicy meat and seafood fry, I think it was called.
Gotcha.
Something like that.
And then you give it to him, and he's like, "Oh,
this is what I forgot how to make."
That's exactly what I forgot. Oh, it was, of course, seafood, the only kind of seafood on the entire plateau. Yes, that was the missing ingredient. All along.
Forgot
Yeah,
my
he
favorite
gives you the
meal.
warm
And
doublet.
then he gives you the warm doublet as a reward for figuring that out. Yeah. It's
Don't
great.
you trade him? Doesn't he take the dish?
I mean,
you give it to
yeah,
him?
I mean, he offers it, and you're like, yeah, for sure, take it. That's why I made it, because you were trying to figure it out, you know? And then he gives you the warm doublet. All right, so here's the thing, right? The Guardians. So here's what they actually are, right? Like, this is the image that we know and love.
Yes, sir. That looks pretty good.
And here's, like, something out of, like, Magic the Gathering, like a kind of a, you know, ornithopter, like, tech thing. And here's what they could have been, which is straight out of, like, scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yeah.
Like some crazy skull monsters, like.
I like that giant crab-looking thing.
Yeah.
That's freaky.
Looks like it was hard for Anthony to see all that, so we'll avoid the book show and tell from now on. But I did want to share that one because it was kind of bonkers. I was like, we could have been like getting chased by nightmares this whole game.
Stephen King stuff.
Yeah.
Would have dramatically changed. It would have been like, this is the first Legend of Zelda horror game.
It would have really ramped up the scariness of when they start targeting you. Because in this one, it's like a relatively unassuming looking robot with just some colorful neon lights with like throughout it the first time you see it. I mean, the laser is definitely threatening, but the thing itself is like, I can only imagine if it was just some abomination. It's like, as it's aiming at you, it's like, nope.
These were Guardians. Don't they make you feel safe? No. Like, not at all.
Point.
Yeah.
At some point, we saw a cutscene of Calamity Ganon, right?
Maybe.
At this point,
I don't remember yet. I mean, you see
Not
it.
yet.
I think when maybe when you get all the towers up, you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody points it out before we do all the shrines. I know there's a cutscene before that point, which does show a little bit of Calamity Ganon.
I don't remember where.
It wasn't until the temple.
I could have swore that Zelda talked and said something about it, but it's just a giant thing about it when you get to the temple at the end.
Yeah.
But the purple corruption-y stuff, I could see how they could go that kind of eldritch horror route with designing them because of that. Like when you actually do see Calamity Ganon, you can see how it's definitely, it looks scary.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely does. It's not just like Ganon riding around up there in a cloud. It's like a terrifying beast.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like it's made out of like Cabernet Sauvignon or something, like just straight up like big malice monster. But yeah, I mean, we were just talking about the Jabai Shrine because that's over this way too by the cabin. That's like a homophone of Fujibayashi. It's Jabayash, Fujibayash, Jabaya. It's in there. It's like in his name. So Hidemaru Fujibayashi, the director of this game, that's like his shrine. It's also the Triforce of Wisdom that the guy has up on his hands. So it's funny, like when they did that direct or developers conference. Like he had the Triforce, like they made jokes because there were 3 of them on the panel, and they did like who has which Triforce piece, and he actually had the Triforce of Courage on that panel. But in this one, he's got the Triforce. It's just some silly stuff that they were doing when they made this game and announcing it. But
they all have the whole Triforce,
right? Pretty much
traded off between each other.
Right. Well, one of the guys on the panel doesn't actually have a shrine on the Great Plateau, so that's another thing. But you know, they figured it out. So yeah, he's the bomb shrine. Just random trivia. I'm not gonna do this for every shrine. I'm just gonna do this for the Great Plateau shrines because I figured they were big, important shrines, so they probably got big, important names behind them, which made them actually a lot easier to find as well. So I did my best to try to figure out who was what, because this isn't listed anywhere online. Like, you're not going to find a list of deciphered shrines. At least I wasn't able to when I went looking. Pretty much the only example you get is the Omen Owl Shrine, and everything else is kind of like, you're on your own. So
good luck.
Yeah. So just some cool trivia.
There's also another little section over by the cabin where you can knock down some trees and get over a little chasm, which is also kind of just a little thing that you might have to do later. It's like an option for traversal if that presents itself.
Yeah.
You can get over there and blow something up with a bomb and grab I don't remember what it was. Maybe like some fire arrows or ice arrows were over there.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, because the old man's cutting down a tree if you go over there before you make his meal. He'll be chopping trees, and he's like, oh yeah, the trick to getting the tree to land where you want is to square yourself to the direction you want it to fall, basically. So he basically gives you the hint that, hey, if you want to get across this chasm over here, you can cut down a tree and just use it as a bridge, which is a really cool mechanic that I don't think later in the game comes up a whole lot, but it is pretty useful here and now. Then again, I haven't been looking for opportunities when I play the game, so I'm not sure, but it's fun.
Just remembered, we actually forgot to mention something about this old man, which kind of makes you think there's more to his identity than just being an old man. But when he's at the base of the tower, before we even do the first Owl Newman Shrine, or Numa Owl, whatever it's called, he marks the shrine on our Sheikah slate and is like, hey, you can do this. Mark locations and set them up. And then there's actually, I think, a prompt you can ask him, like, how do you know this? And he's like, oh, you pick up a thing or two when you're this old. And it's, no, that's fishy, old man. There's something about you that...
Don't think everybody has a Sheikah slate. Like, you don't have one on your hip. I'm sorry. Like, how do you know this?
So how did you know how to work this? It's like giving a cell phone to someone born in, like, the 1900s and, like, early 1900s and, like, work this. Bed, waiting. Like, it's not going to work. He's fishy.
Yeah.
He's hiding something.
For sure. Like that warm doublet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get that. We can go. I mean, the last 2 shrines, one is on this cliffside right over here through this forest, and then the other one is up in the cold area by the mountain. I don't know what order you guys did them in. I ended up doing the Owa Daim Shrine next.
I pretty much always do the one on the top of the mountain last. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did that second this time.
Yeah, I'm used to doing it second. This time I did it last. The Owa Daim Shrine is where we get stasis. And this shrine is actually named after Daiki Iwamoto. Owa Daim Iwamoto Daiki, like it's just like syllables out of his name chopped and pieced back together. It's just homophones, man. They just they put their signature right on like the start of the game. Like these people, like he was, we talked about him before, because he, I believe, was the director of Phantom Hourglass, I think, and Spirit Tracks. If I got that right, which I might. Here, let me check my notes from last 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. But he was the assistant director on this game. So far we have the producer, the director, and the assistant director. As the assistant director, he he gets the centerpiece of the Triforce, which is not a named piece and not an actual piece. He got the space. He got the negative space in the middle. But for some reason, yeah, the when you get in there, the sage that the ancient sage at the end has an upside down triangle hand shape going on. So either he's the connecting fiber that brought the team together, or he's just
he's the mold.
He's just the guy who didn't get a piece of the Triforce for this part.
They just tossed him a bone.
Right.
Wasn't a good bone, but it was a bone.
You can be on the Great Plateau, but we do not grant you the title of Triforce holder.
Oh no.
Oh, you know what I just remembered too?
Made a Star Wars reference.
What's up?
When you're up on the mountain, there's another Korok seed you can get. I think I don't remember if there's one where there's the rock circle or if that I'm remembering something that happened later, but I definitely remember there's one you can push a rock to go down a hill in between two trees and you can get a Korok seed up here. And also, when you get a shield, which you might get off of a Bokoblin, another enemy that we're going to be quite familiar with throughout the course of this game, you can jump and go into a shield surfing mode when you're going down hills, especially made of snow, and it is very fast, but also very damaging to the durability of your shield. And if you fall, you will tumble a lot. And with only 3 hearts, you very well, and I didn't, but you very well could potentially just and game over.
Yeah.
Kind of like a skate game.
I got wrecked a couple times on this Great Plateau.
Skate of the Wild.
And none of it was from skating. but I fell in the ice water once, I think. Ooh. Just from like doing a bad climb or something. Like it wasn't a bad, I remember what it was, bad jump maybe. Something simple, went straight into the water when I didn't want to. I was like, well, I guess that's on me. I think I might have fallen into the mud the same way. There's just like random like instant death places, and that's usually how I die in this game. It's not regular combat most of the time, unless there's something that hits really hard, which there are a couple of things on this plateau that'll do that, but usually it's from a bad jump.
My first death was actually on the cliffside of the shrine, and I just was coming down off of the mountain shrine, which I think is Kanamut, which we haven't talked about yet. Coming down off that. You know how the like spear Bokoblins do that like whirlwind type move? Yeah, so I was apparently really close to the edge of that cliff, like facing off the old man's house.
Oh
no. And he just whirlwinded me, and I'm like movie moded right off the cliff, and Link's like, ah! I felt real bad. And that was before I got to the Lionel and died about 10 times.
Oh. Yeah. I died one time on the Great Plateau. Is right over where you died, Mayo, but in a different way. I was climbing up. You know where across where you cut that tree down, that little chasm, there's that wall. The wall right across from where those trees are. And if you climb up that wall, you'll get to one of the shrines. And on my way up to that shrine by climbing that wall, it all went very smoothly until the very last one of those little platforms jutting off of the side of the mountain that you're supposed to climb up to take a break and get your stamina back. Because how the climbing works in this game is you use up your stamina slowly as you climb. You have the option to do like a little jump, and then you use up a chunk of it, which actually tends to not be worth the distance, but you kind of save time, so you make a sacrifice. If you wait until your stamina gets all the way down to red, you get like a special little where you get a little extra to get up there, a little oomph.
Yeah.
It's the general gist of the climbing system here. So as I was going up onto this last platform, Link decides I'm going to climb up, but not actually onto anything, and then fall straight down the entire distance of the cliff I climbed, and game over me at the bottom when I landed.
Yeah.
I was like, why would you let me climb up that when there's nothing to stand on, and I immediately fall without anything else I can do? I had no recourse, and I died.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had to bail on a couple of climbs. It's better when you have a parasail, because then you know, like, oh, if I save enough stamina, I can just catch myself right at the end of the fall and be fine. Before you have that, it's like, nah, you messed up.
You got to do the speedrunner strat, man. Yeah. You guys see that speedrunner strat where they cancel fall damage? They go into the animation of throwing their weapon and then like bring up the pause menu and switch off of that weapon the same frame that they touch the ground, and it completely cancels out all falling momentum. Not that I can do that or have ever tried. But
I think I've seen it, but no, I've never tried or been successful with that either. Yeah.
It's crazy to watch, though. It's crazy to watch.
So,
But yeah. So we get up this cliffside, right? Eventually. Or we went completely the other way around the place. And we get to
whichever
the
way.
Kenamut Shrine, which, I mean, appropriately is Cryonis because it's in the icy area. It's an ice ability. You make big blocks of ice come out of water. Any source of water. Doesn't matter. It can be mud.
It can even be a waterfall, and it can come out sideways.
Yeah, it just stay there. Like right where you put it. It won't fall down the waterfall, so don't worry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's magical.
Yeah, there's some broken abilities going on in this game, but it's all good because we need them.
Yeah, we do.
But the Kenamut Shrine is named after Kenji Matsutani. So Namut is like a
see that
chopped and screwed version of Matsutani, and Ke is from Kenji, right? So Ke Namut. He was one of the 2 programming leads on the game. His sage, I guess, right? That's how I'm calling them sages. Anyway, his sage has the Triforce of Courage. I could be looking at it backwards because maybe it's based on like what the sage would see with their hands and not what you would see. But when you walk in there, it looks like the Triforce of Courage. Fun point is that in the developer conference, they had one of their lead programmers, the other of the 2, but they gave him the Triforce of Wisdom in their little spiel because he was the one who had the programming wisdom to actually make all their ideas come to life. Which is interesting that they would have swapped it so that the programmer had the courage and Fujibayashi had the
programmer
wisdom.
had this courage to stay up all those nights making the game.
The crunch courage.
The crunch courage. So yeah, so that's kind of my rundown of those shrine names. For a while, there'll be a little bit of a break. I have a couple that came up on my way to the next town, but we can talk about those another time.
I have another little thing. This one's actually something that is possible for regular people to do because that other canceling your throwing with the start menu thing and switching your weapon isn't something that is probably going to be easy to pick up for most people. But this is something you could actually try to do with the new ability we just got of making the block of ice come out of the water. If you're, say, up on something, you might even be able to do it just straight on the ground next to the water, but it would be way harder. So say you're up on something that's a little off. You start to pop that up, run and jump and go into your your shield surf. When you land, normally if you land on it and it goes all the way up, you get like a little hop and then you land, you stand on it. But if you're on top of your shield, you actually get a launch a couple feet up into the air and you can make distances. And when we get the paraglider, you can even use that to pull out your paraglider and get a little extra distance on that. Your shield kind of gives you a buffer that gives you more of a jump so you can make extra things. And it's something you can actually try.
Doing shield strats over here.
Mm-hmm. I've done it a few times. It makes you feel really cool. Like Jason Bourne over here.
Shield.
Yeah.
Shield stratting right
doing the long jump with the shield.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean,
you guys notice?
That's the one thing I can do is the long jump with the shield by doing like going into a shield slide. You just get
when you do the jump and then you pull it out and you do like a little flip or something.
Yeah. There's a couple of like gaps that you are not supposed to be able to bridge that you can bridge with that jump.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty nice. Like especially
you can add that onto the trick with the icicle too, and get a little extra distance before it hits you and launches you.
Nice.
Okay. You guys
fun stuff.
Like happen to catch the name of the river that's right under Kenamut Shrine?
Oh yeah. I mean, this was the other thing.
How ominous is that?
Well, it's there's a theme on the Great Plateau. Because I mean, once you get the map, once you go up the tower and get the map for the Great Plateau, you can see all these names. But I mean, we have like the regular things that you'd expect to see, like Mount Hylia, Hopper Pond, which doesn't seem anything too crazy. There's the Eastern
Stranger
Abbey,
Things.
Also not that crazy, right? But then, I mean, you have the Temple of Time, which is now named. You can see it. It's called the Temple of Time. It looks like the Temple of Time if you played any other games with a Temple of Time in it.
It's kind of ruined.
And then you have, in this game it is, yeah. And then you have the River of the Dead. and the Forest of Spirits. And right in between those two things is the Shrine of Resurrection, which I feel like is pulling a pretty heavy theme there. Yeah, it sounds a little bit dark. I mean, but I guess that you did pretty much. I mean, we'll learn about this later, but you failed at some point, and yeah, there's a whole story that would explain why the Shrine of Resurrection would be like. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
The place you were put and wake up.
And
then it happens to be between death and spirit because you would be resurrected like at the state between dying and your spirit moving on.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It's right in smack dab in the middle.
Spirit returning to your dead body. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. Like Link is, I mean, I don't want to get too far into it, but I mean, Link, he comes up out of like this wet, watery basin and then comes out of this cave. I'm like, it's pretty much a rebirth in a way. Like it's got some really strong imagery of like, okay, he was dead and now he's reborn here in a way. Like they call it resurrection and revitalization. They never use the term reborn. Like, so that's not a thing that the game tries to tell you, but like, you know what I'm saying? He's from the river of the dead and then the Forest of Spirits and the Shrine of Resurrection's right there in between it all.
And you can also make a pretty easy like draw to Jesus's resurrection and him coming out of a cave, and you come out of a cave. They could have had you come out of a building, but they made it a cave. So like this, you could also point at that. They're just pointing even more to the idea of the rebirth.
Yeah.
Although I don't think Link technically died. He just got so insanely critically wounded and basically put into a coma.
He was gravely injured is what
we see it at one point.
As bad as he could be without dying, basically. On death's door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once I think we should get to that point because we're almost there, actually. Learning.
After we get the final shrine, we get a message from the old man of looking at all the shrines, connecting them with horizontal lines, finding the center point, which is the cross, which is right where the Temple of Time is.
Make an X in there. Yeah, it'll be right over the top of the Temple of Time. So we go there, go to the Temple of Time, and you see that there's I think you're even directed to go to this big statue. It's a statue of the goddess Hylia, straight out of Skyward Sword, pretty much.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say straight. There's another one in the game that's actually like straight out of Skyward Sword, but this one is comparable. And it's
very glowy now when it wasn't before. Yeah, highly glowy.
It's got a spotlight from heaven on it. So you can go over there and you can trade in your spirit orbs for the reward. And this is kind of introducing the general mechanic of shrines in the game and what their purpose really is. Because as you progress, kind of like in any other Zelda game, like you collect pieces of hearts or straight up heart containers. But in this game, there are both hearts and stamina wheel or stamina containers, like stamina vessels. Is that what they call them? Something like that.
Yes, stamina vessels.
Yeah, heart containers and stamina vessels. Yep.
Yeah. So you get to choose. Every time you get 4 spirit orbs, you get to choose what you want to trade them in for.
Always in 4s.
Always in 4s.
4 heart pieces, 4 stamina orbs.
Unless it's Twilight Princess, in which case it's 5s. But we don't talk about that.
What are you doing? Breaking the formula.
So yeah, always in 4. So we get those 4. We get to choose what we want. I mean, I always start with stamina. I'm a stamina fiend. The more stamina, the more you can do. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And then the old man asks you to come meet him up on top of the roof, pretty much.
So we find a ladder, climb on up there. The roof can be a little annoying to run on, and if you go off the side, you might slip it a slide. Yeah, there's a ladder to go up to the top. There is.
Scale the building, my guy.
I mean, you could scale the building.
That's what I did the first time I played the game. I mean, you get that extra stamina vessel. You can do whatever you want, man.
Actually, I'm not playing. I didn't know there was a ladder. I literally just linked up the building, Skyrim'd it.
Yeah, there's a ladder.
I knew there was a ladder. I think the first time I climbed up it, I then found the ladder afterwards and was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's how I found it too.
And then this time I was like, I know there's a ladder. Let me find it. Climb up this ladder. So
And you can still use the hop function to climb up the ladder faster, and you regain stamina while you're on it normally, so that's nice. Instead of regular climbing where it's always going down.
yeah, not many ladders in the game overall. I will just spoil that. It's like one of the few.
Enjoy them while they're there.
Yeah. Cool.
And now we're into a cutscene with the old man, who is obviously just an old man.
Yeah, we get the biggest lore dump in the world. First, he reveals
Really
himself to be Rome Bosphorus Hyrule.
Rome Bosphorus Hyrule, that's something.
Yeah. I don't even know.
I'm watching it right
He's a
now.
mighty
Basically,
man.
he says he's the last leader of Hyrule, or he was.
Yeah.
Hyrule, which no longer exists. And he just drops it on us and shows out his drip. And he's just like, all kingly and has gold and has the Triforce as his belt. He's just looking epic.
And he's a spirit, and he's floating.
He's got spirit flames all around him, which will be a reoccurring theme. So that's pretty cool.
We learn Calamity Ganon destroyed everything a century ago. So we learn it was a whole 100 years. We learn he died along with everyone.
I have some notes if you want me to just kind of tear through some stuff.
Tear through, my guy.
So yeah, so he says you're ready to hear what happened 100 years ago, and he talks about how Ganon the Demon King was born into this kingdom, but was transformed into malice, and is now the cause of the abomination that you're seeing, which is when they show you the big nasty pig flying through the sky out in the distance. And he goes into the story about like how this all kind of occurred. I guess long ago there was these divine beasts that were hidden away underground, and their kind of legends were passed down. So when they got word of like a threat again, they decided, okay, well, we'll be prepared. Like, let's dig up these beasts that we've heard about in this Sheikah legend. So they go digging. They get a crew, and they are all digging. They actually dig up the 4 beasts just like they said there would be. And there's also another part of this same legend that talks about a princess with like divine powers and a hero with a sword that seals the darkness. So immediately we're getting like this weird mix between Sheikah technology and the Hylia and the hero story that we've gotten from like Skyward Sword. Like there's like 2 different sides to this coin. So they got these divine beasts and everything. They designated who they thought. I mean, they kind of knew who the princess and the hero were going to be, just because, it doesn't explain how they got there, but the princess was kind of obvious because, she's the only princess. But we'll learn more about that whole selection process later on, I'm sure. But they said they chose 4 individuals from across Hyrule to pilot the 4 divine beasts that they found. Basically, best of the best, what have you, champions. And they were on their way, quote unquote. They were like right on the edge of sealing Ganon. But Ganon responded with he was cunning and responded with some plan or some power beyond their expectations. So he comes out. He says, it specifically says he appeared from beneath Hyrule Castle and seized control of the Guardians and the Divine Beasts. So not only did they, I might have forgot to mention, they not only found the 4 Divine Beasts, but they found the big robot things that were shooting at us earlier, like these Guardians.
An army of them.
Right, like a ton of them. So they thought they had it made in the shade with all of this equipment to take on Ganon, but turns out Ganon was able to take them over, which, I mean, you could see was just devastating.
We get like one of the craziest cutscenes of devastation we actually, I think, see. And you see like 3 or 4 guardians just pillaging and burning buildings to what looks like a bustling Hyrule Castle town.
Yeah.
They just like walk through utter destruction. It looks horrible. It's a really bad scene.
Yeah. So Hyrule's completely devastated. The champions all fell in battle. The champion knight was gravely injured, and only the princess survived to end up facing Ganon alone. So he goes on and says the kingdom was destroyed, but he explains, like, the princess in this story is my daughter, Zelda, and the knight that fought alongside her was you, like Link, basically. And so he explains how you came back from the Shrine of Resurrection. And then advises you to go seek out Impa, like out in Kakariko Village. Kind of points the direction vaguely at the landscape in the distance and is like, head that way. But it also ends up on your Sheikah slate, so it works out. You have a map, and kind of leaves you with that. He gives you the parasail.
He also says that Zelda's been alive in the castle for 100 years, holding back Calamity Ganon.
Yeah.
But doesn't really describe how she's still like not, 120 something probably years old when you eventually find her, which is something we'll talk about way later. But yeah, she's been in the castle for 100 years, somehow not aging at all, defending the whole kingdom from Ganon. So she's like the epitome of awesomeness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's the Legend of Zelda,
Yeah.
Like she's the real hero of this story. She's doing all the fighting while you're just kind of putzing around Hyrule.
Yeah, doing some shield surfing. She's like, fighting off Ganon.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, look, you can look it up. I mean, there's memes upon memes about this whole concept because like it is ridiculous to think, okay, so I've been asleep for 100 years. Meanwhile, this place has been completely devastated. There's like one person currently fighting Ganon over the castle, and my mission is essentially to go and assist with that same mission. So what do? You spend like 200 hours just like finding Korok seeds and any side mission that anyone offers, no matter how trivial.
Zelda, hold on. I need to be able to hold at least 15 weapons before I go and help you. Hold on.
It's like the kid in this town wants to see a sword, Zelda. Am I just gonna like not let him see the sword that he wants to see?
Gonna deprave him of this?
He needs these restless crickets, Zelda. I know she'd understand. I need to buy a house. That's more important right now. I should probably go buy. Okay.
Listen, we're rebuilding out here. You just keep holding them back. Oh my goodness. But yeah, we're given our essential I don't know, like our essential mission,
Yeah.
So it's cool. I mean, I after all this, I did a little more exploring of the Great Plateau and found some things I'd never found before. Namely, there's a waterfall on the River of the Dead, and behind it, there's a little treasure trove. Never knew about that until I was like, you know what? All the best games have something hidden behind the waterfall. Let me go check it out. Went over there, and there actually was like 3 treasure chests with good weapons in them. So that was cool. I found that bomb wall that Cam talked about on the cliffside. Because I know about some missions later on, I've made it a habit to, whenever I see an axe, to just straight up take it to the nearest trees. Unless there's like apple trees or something nearby, in which case I'll use it on that, because that way you kill 2 birds with 1 stone and you get food and wood. But there's a side quest in this game that requires a lot of chopped wood, so I'm like pre-gaming for that. So did that. I ended up grabbing like my first steps off of the plateau. I'm kind of like jumping stories now, so I'm sorry. I know I said we could take turns telling stories, but the first thing I did was go to Satori Mountain. It's a big landmark in the game. Yeah. Mainly
Not
because
too far.
No, it's not. It's actually really close to the plateau, but it's in like the opposite direction of where you're told to go. And the reason I go there is because there's like evidence of somebody who used to live on the mountain who had like a homestead going on. Like there's like a spice forest, a big apple orchard that you can chop down. Dude, when I left Satori Mountain, I had like 185 apples just to like start my game with, which is ridiculous. Like I'm just like the apple man, and I'm like every puzzle that requires any kind of weight, I'm just throwing apples at it. Like that's gonna be my strategy. So
the power.
I have more apples than I need, man. I don't know. It's a lot of horse food. You can give your horses apples and they love them in this game. So
yeah.
So there's that too. But more importantly, there's another orchard of hearty durians on that mountain.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so I go there, and I think every time there's a blood moon, I'm probably gonna make a trip back there and do it all again, just to farm them durians.
The durians are good. Is he using just one of them or maybe two in a thing? It gives you the full heal.
Yeah, it gives you like extra hearts too, like yellow hearts.
Yeah, the
on top of
full
whatever it
heal
is.
plus
Like,
extra
plus
hearts.
yellow.
Yeah,
That's so nice.
anything that has hardy in the name will do that. So there's I think there's might even be hardy fish somewhere too, but I know
there's
It
hardy
has
radishes too.
Yeah, hardy truffles and hardy radishes and big hardy radishes, which
Yeah.
give you even more.
Big hardy radishes.
But yeah, so I go there to get my goods.
I'm gonna have to find this Satori Mountain real quick. Love me some durians.
It's related to some side quests that we'll cover later on in the game too. Like part of our schedule, one of them actually has Satori Mountain on it, because it has some specific things that happen that don't really happen anywhere else. But I just stopped there just because I knew all the fruit was there, before making my way towards Kakariko. So yeah,
I'd also like to
stuff.
mention. By the time I left, I made note of this because I spent quite a time just collecting stuff. By the time I left the plateau, I had 20 guardian pieces just from all the dead guardians around, which you can run up to and click and just get one of the base pieces. I had over 30 insects and lizards and 60 plus monster parts for elixirs and over 60 different ingredients for food, including, different mushrooms and fish and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot. The Great Plateau.
By the time I left. It's a really good strat. I think I might have talked to Fonz about it, where if you have a sword, like the Master Sword is I think the best thing, but you can even use the Sword and the Stone Rusty Sword, and you charge up the first level of the family's secret technique, which has been passed down 10,000 years.
Right. You just wake up with that. You have amnesia, but you can remember the family secret technique.
That's embedded. That's in the DNA at this point. The babies come out spinning.
Get out of
here.
So when you do that in the grass, just a patch of grass, it'll sometimes reveal crickets and bugs and lizards. And if you run over to them, you can pick those up. So you can farm lizards and crickets around here by just spinning in the grass.
Great.
Title.
They come out spinning. As the title for okay, sure. That's gonna get some viewers, my man. That's
right.
Goodness.
People be like, what?
Wow. All right. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, one other thing, just honorable mention, I guess. I mean, we talked about the Talus a little bit. He's like the first field boss that you would see in this game. I mean, now that I've played enough of the game, I know that you can just kind of one cycle them if you have a hammer, though. You just jump on their back and do a spin attack until they die. And usually you can do it even with just one stamina wheel, and it's all Gucci. But there's the honorable mention mini boss, who is the one darker colored bokoblin who lives in the skull base with his friends. This dude will come out with the first Dragon Bone Boko Club. And if you aren't prepared for that, the first time I played the game, I think he was my first death. I literally went up and I'm like, oh, that looks like a cool weapon. And I tried to go toe to toe with him. He smacked me once. I died immediately, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
did not expect that from a bokoblin, because you've been bullying the red ones up and down the plateau, and you see this guy, and you're like, oh, he looks a little different, but I'm sure it's fine. It was not fine.
There's red goblins.
Well, you're playing master mode. I'm talking about main base game.
In master mode, this guy was even more terrifying because all the other ones are brown and he's teal.
Black.
Oh, is he black?
I think
something like that. And you're like, oh,
there's a lot of black goblins.
Yeah, he'll mess you up.
Something that I've been doing is once you get the 4 powers. You actually unlock a 5th power, if you could call it that, and it's the Amiibo on your Sheikah slate. You get to use whatever Amiibos that you have available to you. I have there's like 35 now. Basically, every time they come out with a new Amiibo for Zelda, it works with Breath of the Wild. So, like, I have, I think, 35 cards now. Yeah, one of those packs. And yeah, I've just been doing that and getting mad food, mad weapons. And I feel like I wouldn't do this if this was a normal run. But I'm in master mode, and this I feel like it's respectable. Like I need some
Yeah.
help, right?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna end up using it to get Epona, but because I'm not doing the
Done that
master
already.
mode, I'll probably like let the rest of the cards just sit. I'm not gonna overdo it with those.
I don't
Got 2
have
horses
Epona.
now. Got Hulk. He's a green horse. Pretty good stats for my first pick. And then I got Epona. Registered both of them.
Yeah, I got a black horse with maybe like a white nose or something like that. Not the best horse. Like I thought the solid colors were supposed to be really good, but it wasn't very like it. The stats weren't quite what I thought they would be. But named him Error, just cause it's like a reference to the adventure of Link,
404.
But yeah, I'll probably end up getting Epona and just maining Epona the rest of the game.
I want to find like the worst horse possible, like the worst, like 0 stats and everything. I just name him Ingo.
It's messed up.
Dancing on his grave, man.
Yeah, that's the first thing I did was get a horsey horse and play with the doggy. I was doing circles with the doggy, gave him some food. Probably
I
spent
should
20
bring the
minutes on the
doggy out.
doggy.
Yeah, I haven't
Oh no,
used
not
it.
the wolf. Actual
Oh,
dog.
just a regular
The
dog?
dog's at the stable. Yeah, I was showing my girlfriend. I think it was 20 minutes went by. I was playing with the dog. I got him hearts. And he was following me around the stable, but if you go too far, he leaves, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, that was one of the craziest Amiibo things that they did with this game. I mean, when I got the game, I already had the Link Amiibo from Super Smash Bros. Wii U version, right? I think it's just called Smash Bros. Wii U or something like that. But they let out a whole thing of Amiibos. You could like, basically train them in that game so that they would be linked to like your own NPC.
Yep.
So the only one I got was Link. I'm like, Link is like my main guy. Like, of course I'm gonna get Link, and I did. And then, when this game came out, like it was like, oh, you can use your Amiibo. So I was like, great, put it on there. Got Epona. I was like, whoa, like it's pretty decent. Like, there's only like maybe 2 or 3 that will give you. I mean, I don't know if this is true. I think it might be like a random drop, but at the time, like if you use this Amiibo, you were guaranteed it would drop Epona for you. But one of the wildest things that they did was they also had a Wolf Link Amiibo that came out, I think alongside the HD Twilight Princess. And that thing would straight up drop Wolf Link into your game as like a companion fighter. It would have as many hearts as you did, and it would just like
I have that actual Amiibo too.
You. Yeah, I never got that one.
Pretty boss.
By the time I found out about what it would do in Breath of the Wild, it was already jacked up in price, so I never ended up getting it. But
slightly off topic, those Smash Bros. Amiibos are really cool. They actually, when you fight them and level them up, they learn from what you do. So if you like jump a lot, they will jump a lot. If you use specials a lot, they'll use specials a lot. And I have a really good level 10 Inkling one if you guys are ever feeling frisky. He's going to be jumping a lot. He's a beast.
I want to play Smash Bros. Again, but...
Yeah, I maxed out this Link Amiibo, but I don't know how good he would be today.
We could play some multiverses, though.
We
all have PCs.
Right. So one Amiibo that I thought was pretty good, the Skyward Sword one that was just released. Cameron, you have it, right?
No, you're talking about the Zelda one?
It. Yeah, the one with Zelda, the Loftwing. Yeah.
Yeah, where you can like save the game and then kind of transport.
I don't have a game that works with it, but I have the Amiibo.
Hold on. Let me see if I can.
Anyway, that one, if you scan it into Breath of the Wild, you have a small chance to get the Sacred Shield and Goddess Sword.
Oh.
Which I thought was really cool. So I'm trying for it. I'm so close. Feel it. My
I gotta try that one now. I think they blocked the RFID chip though. When it's still in the package, I haven't taken it out of the package yet. So I might not be able to use it, but I could try. See what happens.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I don't have the actual Amiibo, but I have like a nice, like really hefty plastic card that represents the Amiibo that I just hold up to the little Amiibo port and it works. So yeah, I can just do the same thing. Yeah.
Cool. Just open a can of something behind the screen there.
The can.
Nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and take a sip.
Oh, refreshment break.
It's just
Why not?
water.
It is just water. I don't even know if you can see the detail on it. I'm doing a lot of show and tell with my camera. It's got like windmills and stuff on it.
I see a little bit.
I got it from Amsterdam while we were there because I forgot a water bottle. So I bought this. They sell reusable water bottles filled with water. Like, so if you need to buy water, you can just refill it at like a drinking fountain. It's one of the things that they do to try to be environmentally friendly. It's really cool.
I like that.
Yeah. That was one of the things about the Europe trip. It was a lot of like America shame that was not intended that way. Like you walk through and you're like, oh, they have recycling everywhere. Like they're doing things like selling reusable water bottles just as their main bottled water that you can buy at the store. It's like, just a lot of cool incentives that they're, had going on. That was, 2 years ago now, 3 years ago now. I don't know. So we got off on some crazy tangents just then.
And we got the pod.
She just woke up from a nap, so she is like really groggy. Normally she wouldn't just sit here. Let me hold her this long.
Yeah, she looks a little bit dazed.
You got any more nip, Daddy?
Looking at the ceiling. Trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to share about the Great Plateau or what happened afterwards. I mean, I think next episode we're gonna end up going to Kakariko, and I think we talked about
first journey.
Yeah, did we have 2 towns on the bill for next time?
Yes.
Is that a thing? You said yes.
Kakariko and Heteno, I think.
Heteno. Okay. Yeah, so that'll be a lot of NPC time. It'll kind of be like a redoing of our Hylian Condition episode from way back in the day. I don't have. I'm still doing research, so I don't have any tidbits to even kind of throw out there right now. But should be fun. I mean, these are the 2 main Hylian. Arguably, one is Sheikah, one is Hylian. Towns that are still around today, so kind of gives us an idea of where Hyrule actually sits. So yeah, it'll be a cool episode, I think. So yeah, housekeeping. I guess if you are catching this in video form, congratulations, you are witnessing the start. This is the first vodcast we have tried to make. Let's see if it actually comes out that way. But yeah, we're gonna try to do this season this way. It's a little bit different format. We're getting used to it still. Seeing facial reactions has its pros and cons. So yeah, if you are just listening to the audio, I'm sorry, you might be missing out. Maybe find a different place to catch us. But otherwise, guys, what is happening?
I jinx.
But otherwise, you can catch us at our, we have our website linked in the description. You can catch us at any of our social medias. I stream most Tuesdays and Thursdays at the time of this recording. Anthony's part of C-Motional. Anthony, you want to talk about C-Motionals at all? While you're hiding in the bushes.
Anthony loves plant.
I got my plant. I love plant.
All right.
C-Motionals. All about plants. Care about plants and C-Motionals. In fact, we are probably within the next few weeks going to go to a greenhouse and we're going to clean up their fields. Join us on meetme.com where you can sign up and join us.
Wow.
And when is that event?
Yes.
Okay.
That's fantabulous.
It's on September 1st.
Okay. This episode comes out before that. That'll work.
Okay, good. Or else never mind.
No, that's good. So, yeah, otherwise, we will catch you on the next episode. Y'all stay fresh.
Stay jiggy.
Stay wiggy? Did you wiggy all that?